Hey guys. Okay, so welcome back to part 4 to what if Deku was a villain. So, can we start? Before we start, I'm so sorry for part 3 having such terrible audio, but let me give you the gist. It's the trading arc. Deku messed up Mineta, so he's extremely hurt, but after the after the impact of the villains coming there, Mineta is basically on life support. All Might is dead and Mirio has one for all. You see, in the end, I was thinking that maybe Deku could have one for no. Yeah, one for all. And he could use that power to destroy the world. But then I was like, I have a better idea. Can't tell you what it is though. You gotta tune in for part 5 and 6. That's how far I think I'm gonna go with this. Not too long, Cause with so many 24-minute videos, it gets kind of boring. But anyway, so I'm so sorry. I get nervous sometimes. I've never gotten so many views on a video before. But so Mirio rushes in, and All Might gives him his quirk before dying in Mirio's arms. Izuku, unbeknownst to everybody, stabs himself in the arm to get tears to come. And even though everybody's crying like babies, Izuku, only single tear rolls down his face. But internally, he's smiling, he's laughing, but he's still angry that someone else has such ultimate power. But Mirio was not having any of that shit right now, bro. He zipped through the floor, just bodying villains. And then, while the rest of the class was only trying to offer some support to him, they were doing okay, I guess. But Mirio was just coming in, taking these niggas out, bro. So, sorry, I didn't mean to say nigga. He's just taking them out, and Deku is trying to offer some support from the back, conjuring up small fireballs, shooting it at everyone, shooting one or two or three, until until he only catches a slight glimpse, but he sees a League of Villains member getting a bit too close to Uraraka. Now this guy, he doesn't care about Deku's orders or Shigaraki's orders to not touch Uraraka. He plans on knocking her out and using his long reach, using his quirk. I'm gonna call it mole. Basically, he looks kind of like a mole person, and he can dig through the ground. So I think his plan is to knock her out. And drill out of the USJ. But Deku, while everybody's just looking in awe of how Mirio's just skillfully taking out the bad guys, Kurogiri and Shigaraki's like, nah, bro, I'm out. And the two of them jump back through a portal that Kurogiri made, leaving the other villains to suffer. So that's kind of not his fault per se. So now Deku, the class spots who Deku's running after, the mole-looking villain. Either using his booster, using his engines, speeds up next to him and tries to catch up to the mole guy, but it doesn't work. The mole guy digs under Ida, and before he can react, he falls into a manhole. But Deku, who just blasting himself up with flames, pushes himself over the manhole, and he sucker punches the guy in the face. And he just starts going to town. He's like, "How dare you try that?" And everybody in the class is just staring at him. And Deku doesn't even care at this point. He is furious. So he grabs this man by his throat, slams him into. He slams by grabbing him by his neck. He's like, please, I'm sorry. And Deku's like, it's too late for apologies. And then he catches himself before he burns this guy alive. And he grabs Ochako's head and he kicks the guy in his stomach into the wall of the USJ and takes him back to the group. And the guy and the rest of the group, even Bakugo, is just horrified at that guy. He has two swollen black eyes. It looks like Deku, and there's a huge like bruise on his neck from how hard Deku was squeezing him. And he didn't even use his quirk. He did not even use his quirk, bro. But everybody doesn't know the full capabilities of his quirk. But he only took a slight glance at the villain and lit part of his costume on fire. And the guy started burning. By the time anybody noticed, Deku's like, maybe I can try to put it out. But then he fakes, but like he pretends like his powers aren't working. And then he's like, maybe someone is like doing this on purpose. And then he keeps faking trying to put it out. But by the time any of them could reach back over to the guy, his clothes were already burned off, and there was some burning on his hand. Deku smiled at himself, proud of knowing what he did to him, and knowing that'll teach anybody else who wants to go against his orders and try to hurt Ochako a grave lesson. So following the USJ, everybody is kind of shaken up, you know? I mean, who wouldn't be shaken up? You were just attacked. You were just attacked by a large group of villains. But since All Might is dead, everybody's still shaken up. So I feel like they implement the dorm system still, right? But I believe they implemented it. Yeah, they implemented it around this time or something. But they implement the dorm system, and Mrs. Midoriya is a bit, well, let's just say, she burst into tears again. And oh my god, why do I keep bringing her back, bro? She's dead. Izuku does not mind having to sleep in the dorms. That just means that he doesn't have to stay in this apartment that the villains are renting out for him, cause it was a risk, you know. It could lead a trail from him to the villains. So now that he lived in the school's dormitory system, it would have been excellent. It would have been easier. So of course, when the day came to move in, Izuku got the room closest to Ochako's on purpose. And then he said, I guess we're neighbors. She blushed at that thought. But Izuku knew there was still work to be done. So, during the night, he went over to Ochako's room. He kissed her on the forehead, and then he just zipped out. He zipped out of the dorm system. His goal is to take intel from the school. So he sneaks in, but he did not expect who he saw. He breaks into Principal Nazu's office, and he's sitting on the chair looking at him. And then he's like, I don't know who you are, but my students are on campus, and I don't appreciate you trying to steal from me. So Principal Nazu gets up, and then Izuku doesn't know what to do. If he uses his powers, Nazu could chase it back to him. But instead, he starts making his tea, and he takes a cup, takes one sip, and he's like, if you don't get out of my office right now. He pulls out a gun. He takes a gun in one hand, and he puts on his tea that he had in one hand, and he takes out a button, and he says, I'm either gonna crush you with my mech suit, or I am going to shoot you. I don't know how old you are, but with your stature, your bone structure, and your height, you seem like to be a teenager. I can't believe the League of Villains would implement a child to do something so dastardous. But, of course, I wouldn't expect that from villains, to stoop that low, all for the sake of achieving their ideals. That disgusts me. Now get the hell out of my office. So, with that, Deku jumps out the window that he came. And at first he's thinking going back to the dorms, but he figured if he goes back to the dorms, Principal Nezu could easily think. So he does the next best thing. He uses an in case of emergency gadget that he didn't think he would need, but it was a teleportation mat. You know, like the return pad from Family Guy, where Stewie would take like this little circular disc thing from his backpack, throw it on the ground, then it would expand into a big circle, and then a big flash of light, they're gone back to the present. Well, that's a bit different. With that, he's teleported instantaneously to the League of Villains base. Now, he reports to them that Principal Nezu caught him. So, Shigaraki takes a gun. He cocks the trigger, and then he points it to him. And then he starts a monologue. He's like, did you know that when I was a child, All For One was still healing? But he asked me, what was my reason for wanting to be a villain? And I told him, because heroes aren't good enough. And he put this revolver, 6-round mag, to my head. I was 7 years old, and he's like, do you believe that I won't pull this trigger? Do you believe that I will not kill you? Because if you believe that, then there's nothing to be afraid of. And All For One put the gun to this little kid's head, and expecting to look for a trace of fear on his face, there was none. His eyes blank. All For One didn't shudder, but he smiled. He thought this child was very promising. Those eyes, they hold nothing of fear, or sadness, or regret. They were empty, blackened, and he could feel that society would cast him out because of his quirk. He could feel the hate, everything that everyone has ever done to make him feel this way. He felt his suffering. He felt the pain, and he didn't mind. He didn't care what they thought. He did not care. So, Shigaraki takes that same revolver, and he puts it under Izuku's neck, and he says, let's play a game of Russian roulette. There's 6 mags in this gun. One of them isn't loaded. Do you want to take a chance that I won't blow your fucking brains out? Do you want to take that chance? So, silence filled the room as Shigaraki told him. Deku looked at him. He blinked for a second, and the eyes that looked back to him wasn't the eyes. His eyes were different from Shigaraki's. In that moment, Shigaraki held no fear, no remorse, no regret, nothing! Deku's eyes held only anger, rage, and bloodlust. And Deku told him, you can shoot me, but you can't kill me. Because I don't need my quirk to kill you. Right here, right now, I could pull this knife out of my boot so fast and slit your throat so quickly you wouldn't feel it. Don't test me. You don't know what I've been through. You can't feel my pain, so don't you dare ever think that you need to test me. So go ahead. make the same fatal mistake that hero made the day my mom died. Try testing me, because I will do exactly what I did to him. I cut him down. Shigaraki wasn't scared. He physically felt proud of the kid. He felt that he was impressed that a child so young was able to show no remorse and no fear. And Deku looked at him and he said, I'm just fucking with you, Shigaraki. We might be both fighting to be All for One successor, but for right now, you are my brother in arms. So, with this pact, that will be signified. And Deku took the knife out of his boot and cut the palm of his hand. And he cut Shigaraki's hand. And they shook hands. And Deku said, "We are blood brothers, now and forever. And we're blood brothers now and forever. And this bond will not be broken until the day one of us does necessarily meets death, the cruelest mistress ever. And it's all up to the fates then." They checked the time. They've been at this back and forth thing for an hour. Shigaraki telling Deku his story and Deku showing him thing. Oh my god, I totally skipped the hero naming. Everybody's named the same. Everybody's named the same. Just know that, okay? Then they go back to school the next day, right? And Mr. Aizawa told them, last night there was a break-in at UA High. There was a break-in. The thief, did not take anything. Principal Nezu made sure of that. However, we can't be afraid. We need to show the world that we heroes aren't giving up on. So, that's why in 2 weeks' time, we are going to be having he takes a long pause. We're going to be having the UA festival. And Deku raises his hand and he says, wouldn't that be the opposite? What if they attacked again? And then Aizawa was like, we're counting on it. If they attack us, we'll be 100% ready. Pro heroes will be guarding the stadium. It's all up to them. So now, the thing. 2 weeks fly by fast. Deku receives a bit more. Deku and Uraraka receive some side training. Okay. Deku and Shigaraki, since they're blood brothers now, they train together. And Uraraka trains with this martial arts villain called the master martial artist. He knows all types of fighting, but he teaches her jujitsu and kung fu. A little bit of Krav Maga too. But anyway, Shigaraki is trying to train Deku's reactive skills, because he's quite powerful and his powers can be used in a number of ways. It can be used in ways without him even alerting his opponent, like with just a simple movement of his eyes. So, he trains his powers, and Shigaraki is always preparing to catch him. Shigaraki explained to him before they started training. He's like, in these 2 weeks, I'm going to train your reactive skills. If you don't dodge me coming for you to touch even one part of your body, I'm sorry, but make no hesitation, I will kill you. And I won't be sorry. Because if you can't even deal with me, how are you going to deal with a pro hero like Endeavor or Best Genius or something? You have to be on high alert. So he takes off the head that covers his face, and Deku takes off his face mask and unbuttons the suit jacket and his white shirt. It's just him shirtless and the suit pants and shoes and the gloves. And the two of them just keep practicing, going rounds at each other. So the day comes, and they're not in their super suits. No, they're in their gym costumes. But they were allowed to keep certain things. So Deku, he couldn't take his face mask. He could only take one piece of gear from his hero suit. So he chose his gloves. Because they allowed his powers to be upgraded in case they needed his powers to be upgraded in case anything happened to him. So in the beginning, Bakugo tries to speed blitz using his explosions as like a booster jet, and Todoroki right off the bat uses his ice to gain first place. Bakugo explodes the ice around him and easily boosts himself, tying with Todoroki for first. Since Izuku's established himself as that nice guy that can be quite dangerous, he frees only his friends. He frees Uraraka, he frees Tokoyami, and he freezes Ida. Basically, he freezes everybody in class 1A. Everybody else, he just left there. And with that, he grabs Uraraka's hand and he takes off. He learned how to create flame projections. So he has a phoenix surrounding. So he created a flame phoenix surrounding his body and he boosted off. Now he sees Todoroki and Bakugo in his sights. And while maintaining the phoenix, he asked Uraraka to make them weightless because he was gonna divert a little power from the projection. He diverts power from his projection and creates a massive fireball. But he pushed the booster cork into it, and it started turning blue. It'd be beautiful if it wasn't a deadly large ball of fire coming at you. Duh. So in that moment they're weightless, and with one finger he pushes it at them. And he clearly sees Class 1B catching up, so he makes the right decision. He sees a wall of robots coming. He sees a wall of robots coming after, and the dead last row of robots, he lights them on fire. So even if they do catch up to them, dealing with those flaming robots will take a long time. And he pushed Booster Quirk energy into that as well, turning that shit blue. So now Deku has taken Bakugo out of commission. Todoroki managed to create an ice shell, even though it was basically, if Deku had pushed, he still hasn't learned how to combine the two quirks into one, allowing the flame to be easily, turned. Like, that took a lot of energy to turn the flame, to increase the heat on the flame. And before we end, let me just make this clear. I already have a scale. Normal fires like orange, red. The other fires like blue fire, like Dabi's fire. Then we go black fire. Then white fire. And then the hottest flame that he will be able to use will be what he calls God Flame. But that's probably, actually I shouldn't say anything. But it'll require him to have certain conditions to be met. But anyway, so Deku is like, all right, so you want to be first or should I? And then she's like, no, you can go first, because all I did was make us float for that period of time when he took out Todoroki. So Deku lands and makes it into first, and making sure that Bakugo will definitely take fourth. After Todoroki makes it out of the minefield, he sees he can feel the minefields the mines under the ground, and then he looks intently at 2 or 3 of them and lit them on fire. What he didn't account for are the shards and the blast rate. So I sent him flying back, and a bunch of shards hit him clean in the shoulder. So you know that's gonna. Okay, so he exploded the minefields, shooting Bakugo back up into the air, and a couple of shards hit him. So, Deku and Uraraka got first and second. So now everybody's gunning for Midoriya because he got the 1 million headband, and Uraraka. So the 2 of them decide that they're gonna join a team. So Deku's gonna be the horse because he could just create an astral projection of like I don't know, like a shell around them, or maybe a phoenix again to like keep them up into the air. But he knows that he won't be able. So he knows that he won't be able to. He knows he won't be able to do this by himself. So he asked Tokoyami. He asked Tokoyami and Ida to be on their team. So this is how it goes. Ida is the horse. Deku is the rider, and Tokoyami and Uraraka. Look, Deku has created a flame shell around him, and it's used, and it has blue flame around it, so it's extra strong. And Tokoyami enveloped him and Uraraka in pure darkness, and they're at the back. So now nobody can get to them. So everybody's gunning for them. And the mind control guy, the guy who controls people's minds by them talking to him, and the copy court guy, the 2 of them come together as a team. And the copy guy copies Deku's quirk. But the problem is, Deku, he only manages to shoot fire. He can't do any of the things Deku can do. So Deku's kind of disgusted by the cheap imitation of his quirk. So instead he turns off his shield only for a moment, and he's like, "Hey you!" And then he's like, "Who, me?" And then he's like, "Yeah. That's a disgusting cheap imitation of my power. Feel the real deal." And then he pointed his finger out to shoot out he really pushed a lot of the booster quirk into this fireball. He held his hand out, and then he lost control. Psh, black fire shot directly at him, and it melted him. But it's the only reason that the only reason that he wasn't the only reason that he did not die was because the steel guy was on his team and tanked most of the hit. But because there was so much pressure on his form, he passed out right after. So let me leave you with this image before the video ends. Deku standing across from Todoroki, surrounded by ice. That's the image I'm going to leave you with. All you need to know, Deku's team won. So Deku just, I'll get into more detail about the fights a little bit later. I'm just gonna tell you. No. Let me give you a little bit of a hint. Every fight happened as normal, right? And Deku just, who did he fight in the beginning? Oh, yes, Momoa. I mean, not Momoa, that's the copy guy, I believe. The guy who can, hypnotize you by speaking to him. He's like, "Hey, blockhead, you're pathetic. A lighter could do your job." And then Deku was about to react when Ojiro looked at him and was like, "No." So Deku just points out and just blasts him back with a massive blue fireball, sending him back. Since Deku is a bit of a sadist and kind of evil, obviously, he creates a wall of flame to hit him back. and just to spite him for what he called him, and then the mind control guy is like, idiot, and then he's like, oh look, is the little baby mad? You want to go cry to your girlfriend? And Deku just lost it. He covered his whole foot in fire, and he kicked him back. So Deku, in that moment, he had an idea. He uses astral projection to create armor around his body, right? So it's like night armor, and then he yells like, blue flame, night armor mode, Devastator's fist. So he leans. The armor is made out of regular flames, and his fist is covered in blue fire, and he hawks just a massive punch at this guy. At this point, everybody there could see that he would be an amazing hero, but he needs to control that temper of his. So, yes, Janae, Bakugo. Oh, calm down then. Ow! What the shit? Anyway, that was my sister again. You have 17K subscribers. Let me have this, man. Jesus Christ. So, Deku jumps back, and he's declared the winner. In the back, he's still a bit mad. So as he walks to the back room, he's still covered in an aura. He's still covered in the night armor. So Ochako has to be the one to be like, Izuku, and then he's like, what? Until he sees her, and he's like, sorry. And then she's like, you're still on fire. And then he's like, thanks, I guess I am. And then she's like, I mean, that too, but you're actually still on fire. And then he looks at his hand, and then he's like, I guess I am. And that's, I guess, where I'm going to end it. I'm so sorry for part 3. I cannot stress that enough. It's amazing that it even got 100 views. Like, those are the committed people who actually want to watch my channel for its content. But I actually don't want to be that one-trick pony. And realistically, the next part to this is probably gonna be the last part. You know? Plus, I already have how Deku is gonna get off one to win. I really feel that could be like an hour-long special for the finale. But it'll take forever to render. You know what I mean? So maybe just like 40 minutes. Okay, so smash like, subscribe. Thanks for watching part 4 to What If Deku Was a Villain. And I really hope I'm trying to paint a beautiful word picture here. I've never gotten if you can see, if you've checked my channel, I used to do gacha videos because I'm not a trend hopper anymore. But like at the time when I started my YouTube channel a year ago, gaming was really popular and I really wanted to do that, but I didn't know the means, so I kind of just gave up on it, you know? And then I'm sorry. I'm losing myself. And then gacha got popular, so I started doing gacha videos. And now I'm doing something that I like to do, which is what ifs. So it's just whatever now. You know what I mean? But yeah, anyway. Bye guys. Bleh.